Sharks have survived 5 mass extinctions. They outlived the dinosaurs by 200 million years. Right now, there is a shark somewhere on this planet older than most of the fossils in a museum. But here's what almost nobody tells you. For over 50 million years, longer than the entire age of the dinosaurs, sharks didn't exist. And the ocean was not empty. It was ruled by something worse. This is the story of what actually sat on the throne before sharks ever showed up. 4 different rulers, 4 different collapses, and the twist is that when sharks finally do enter this story, they're not the hero. They're the animal nobody's afraid of yet. Let's go back 500 million years. 500 million years ago. There is no such thing as a fish. No bones, no jaws, no spine. The most complex thing alive is a soft-bodied worm hiding in mud. And then, out of nowhere, evolution produces something that looks like it was designed by a committee that had never seen an animal before. It's about a meter long, roughly the size of a person's torso, which in this world makes it a giant. It has 2 enormous eyes on stalks, built from thousands of individual lenses, sharper than almost anything else alive at the time. It swims using a rippling fringe of side flaps, like a manta ray crossed with a centipede. And at the front, it has 2 spiked, grasping arms that curl around prey and drag it into a mouth shaped like a nightmare. A circular ring of hooked plates that opens and closes like a camera shutter. This is Anomalocaris. Its name literally means abnormal shrimp, because when scientists first found its pieces, they had no idea it was even one animal. For decades, they thought the mouth was a jellyfish, the body was a sponge, and the arms were a completely different shrimp-like creature. It took over 100 years to realize they'd been looking at 3 parts of the same monster. And that monster is, as far as we can tell, the first true apex predator in the history of Earth. Before Anomalocaris, nothing was really hunting. After Anomalocaris, everything in the ocean is either armored, buried, or scared. Here's the part that should bother you. New research on its arms suggests it actually couldn't crack the hard shells of trilobites, like the old documentaries claimed. It was fast, but built for soft, fleeing prey, not brute force. Even the very first king of the ocean turns out to have limits. It won't matter for long, because something bigger is coming, and it doesn't chase prey at all. It waits. Fast forward 40 million years. The Ordovician period. Anomalocaris and its strange cousins are gone, and evolution has found a new formula for domination. Build a shell, and never stop growing. Meet the orthocone nautiloids, animals like Cameroceras and Endocarus. Picture a squid. Now put that squid inside a straight, hollow, cone-shaped shell that can stretch past 6 meters long. Some estimates from partial fossils push it close to 9. That's longer than a city bus, made of solid calcium, floating through Ordovician seas like a torpedo with a face. 90% of that length is shell. The animal itself lives crammed into the front chamber, tentacles trailing out, while the rest of the shell is filled with gas-filled chambers it uses to control its buoyancy. Rising, sinking, hovering, completely silent. It doesn't need to be fast. It's an ambush predator the size of a submarine, and everything in its ecosystem knows it. These things become the largest animals to have ever lived on Earth up to that point. Full stop. Bigger than anything that came before them in the ocean or anywhere else. They eat trilobites, other cephalopods, and this is the part people love. The other apex predator of the time, giant sea scorpions the size of a grown man. And then, in a geological instant, it's over. The end of the Ordovician brings the second worst mass extinction in Earth's history. Worse than almost anything except the one that will end the Permian. 250 million years later. More than 60% of marine life vanishes. Sudden glaciation drops sea levels and flips ocean chemistry upside down. The giant nautiloids, so specialized, so enormous, so perfectly built for the world they had, can't adapt fast enough. They shrink into irrelevance and never rule again. The throne is empty, and two very different creatures are about to fight over it. In the Silurian period, the ocean's new heavyweight isn't a fish or a mollusk. It's an arthropod, a sea scorpion, Eurypterids. The biggest of them, Dunkleosteus, stretches past 2.5 meters. The largest arthropod that has ever existed, before or since. Segmented armor, paddle-like limbs for swimming, and grasping claws at the front, built to seize anything smaller than itself. For a stretch of time, these are apex predators in shallow seas and even brackish river mouths, sharing the water with the last of the giant cephalopods. And somewhere in this same period, quietly, without any fanfare at all, sharks appear. Not the sharks you're picturing. The earliest evidence is just scales. Small, tooth-like denticles, dated to around 450 million years ago. No skeletons. No fins we'd recognize. If you were swimming in this ocean, you would not notice them. You'd be looking at the sea scorpion the size of a golden retriever, or the last of the giant shelled predators drifting past. The animal that will eventually own this entire planet's oceans for the next 400 million years is, right now, nothing. Background noise, easy prey. That's worth sitting with. The apex predator we all fear today spent its first 50 million years as an afterthought. The Devonian period earns a nickname, the Age of Fishes, and its final boss is Dunkleosteus. This is a fish with no teeth at all. Instead, its jaws are built from two long, blade-like bone plates that self-sharpen every time it opens and closes its mouth, like scissors grinding against each other. Its entire head and the front third of its body are sealed in thick, jointed bone armor, essentially a living tank. Older estimates put it at 10 meters long. More recent, more careful reconstructions bring that down closer to 4 meters. Still, even at the smaller, more accurate size, this thing is the undisputed apex predator of its world for close to 25 million years. It doesn't chew. It can't. Instead, it opens its jaw so explosively fast that it creates a suction force, pulling prey straight into that bone-plated mouth, and then shears through flesh and sometimes armor, like a guillotine. We know Dunkleosteus attacked its own kind, because we found the bite marks on other Dunkleosteus fossils. Meanwhile, sharks are still there, still small, still swimming in the gaps between the real predators in the water Dunkleosteus doesn't bother hunting in, and then the world ends again. 2 extinction events hit back to back at the close of the Devonian. The Kellwasser event, then the Hangenberg event. Oxygen collapses in huge stretches of ocean. And placoderms, the entire group Dunkleosteus belongs to, the armored kings of the Devonian, go extinct completely. Every single one. The armor that made them unstoppable predators becomes useless dead weight in a world that's suddenly starved of oxygen and short on the specific prey they were built for. Here's the twist nobody sees coming, and it's the whole reason this story matters. The animal that survives isn't the biggest. It isn't the most armored. It's the one that stayed small, stayed flexible, and never overspecialized. Sharks make it through the extinction that erased the armored giants, and with their biggest competitors suddenly gone, they explode. Scientists actually call the next 50 million years the golden age of sharks. Hundreds of new species. Bizarre body shapes we don't have modern equivalents for. Bottom dwellers, fast open water hunters, deep sea specialists, an entire empty throne room, and sharks are the only ones left who know how to use it. They have never lost that throne since. Not through the Permian extinction that killed 90% of all life on Earth. Not through the asteroid that ended the dinosaurs. Every other apex predator in this story, Anomalocaris, the giant nautiloids, the sea scorpions, Dunkleosteus, built an empire, got too specialized to survive change, and vanished. Sharks just didn't stop adapting. So next time someone tells you sharks are the ocean's ultimate predator, they're right. But only because everything that came before them made one fatal mistake sharks never did. If you want to see what almost dethroned them permanently, the mass extinction that nearly wiped sharks out too, that's next.